I just put
Okay, good morning, all of you. So today is your next part of this chapter. So probability we have already finished. Yesterday's PPT I have not shared yet. Today I will share after the class. So today's topic is random variables and their properties. Actually, last year this particular topic was a different chapter, but this time in the new syllabus they have clubbed this with your first chapter itself. So your 8-unit chapter has now been converted to 5 units, in which random processes been is attached with the chapter number 1. So in this chapter 1, these are the following contents which we're going to see. We have discrete random variables, continuous random variable, probability distributions, joint probability, transformation of variables, mathematical expectation, and probability generating functions. So we have different types of discrete and continuous variables. So the types we will see in the next chapter because it is not given in this. So we will only see the basic of discrete and continuous. How to identify first of all how to define the random variable. Okay, that is more important. We have to learn first how to define the random variable, and then what is the discrete random variable and continuous. We will see the definition and how to define the probability distribution for these two. So these three parts are very important. Okay, once you understand this part, then joint probability will be very, very damn easy. Okay, so this is just an extension of this particular part. Okay, so here we will deal with only single random variables x and y, whereas in joint probability we will deal together xy. That's the only difference. So if you understand this, even the formulas will be very much similar with small changes here and there. Then we will see the transformation of variable. This is also a very easy part. Mathematical expectations, I will be telling itself in the continuous and discrete random variable. So I will not do this separately. Expectation or mean, whatever we will say this, I will continue. I will do this in discrete and continuous in both the ways. And the probability generality function, it is very easy type. So just we can quickly finish this chapter. So today we will only see the basics of discrete and continuous. So let us see what is the random variable all about. Okay, my objective is for you to actually first define the random variable. Okay, so if you can see here, the random variable x actually we generally represent this with x or y, represent a numerical value, okay, associated with each outcome of the probability distribution. So a random variable is discrete. We call it as a discrete if it has a finite or countable number of possible outcome. I will discuss this part a bit later. I will just hide this part. Okay, so let us first quickly see the how we define the probability random variables now. So I will take the very basic example of tossing a coin. Let's say tossing a coin. Okay, two types. Very basic example. Okay, this is the experiment of tossing a coin 2 times. So we have already seen that when we toss the coin 2 times, the number of outcomes we will get is HH, HT, TH, and TT. This is the sample space we will get it. All right. So earlier we will be calculating the probabilities directly. Now in this particular case, we will not do it directly. We will introduce something which is called a random variable. So what is this random variable? Okay, so let us say I'm taking here x as a random variable. I'm defining x as a random variable. Okay, associated with number of head turns up. Number of head turns up. Okay, so now x is the random variable which is now associated with what? Number of head turns up in this sample space. I will take one more random variable. You can define as many random variable you want. So this I will take as a random variable associated with, let's say, number of tail turns up. So two random variables I have assigned now. So as you can see here in the sample space, if I want to look at the x as a random variable, so how many head is there? There are 2 head. How many head is there? 1 head. How many head is there? 1 head. And how many head is there? It is 0. So for random variable x, okay, the range, if I talk about, your range is between 0, 1 and 2. So 0, 1 and 2 is the range. This is for the random variable x. What about the random variable y? Y is associated for number of tail. So I just quickly change the color. So if you just look at the tail, how many tails? There is 0 tail here, 1 tail, 1 tail, and 2 tail. So again, the range of random variable y is also again 0, 1, and 2. So this 1 and 1 we are not repeating again. 1, how many times it may come, but we will write only one time as a range. Okay, so now you can see that your random variable x and y has taken a numerical value associated with each outcome. Okay, each outcome, whatever the random variable you decided. So I have decided x is number of x is a random variable for number of head. So this is the numerical value it has taken. Y as the random variable I have decided for number of tail. So this is the numerical value it has taken. Now, what is the use of this random variable? So the use of this random variable will be that we will represent this in tabular form. So how we represent in tabular form? First, we will write the random variable of x, okay, and their probabilities. And their probabilities, which we generally represent that as p of xi. This is random variable of xi because you have x1, x2, x3, like x1, x2, x3 like this. This will be your x1, this will be your x2, this will be your x3, this will be your y1, y2, and y3. So I'm first defining the random variable in tabular form for number of heads turned on. So you have to write the range here. The range will start from 0, 1, and 2. So 0 means no head because it is number of head we are talking about. So this is represent no head. So this represent one head in the sample space, and this represent two head in the sample space. So what is the corresponding probabilities? So if we just look at the 0, how many times 0 is there? 1 out of 4. So this probability will be 1 divided by 4. Now one head, we have two places 1 1, so this is also 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4. So I will get 2 by 4. That is the probability. And then the two head is also appearing one time. So this probability is also 1 by 4. So this is the way we define the random variable and their probabilities. Okay. Whereas this xi is representing the random values, random numbers, which is taken as a numerical value, and p of xi is the corresponding probabilities. The corresponding probabilities. Similarly, you can also define the random variable for y as well. Okay, so even if you take y in this case, I don't have space here. I'll just rub this quickly, the upper part. Yeah, just make this bit space. Okay, so if you want to represent, let's say, random variable yi, and you want to find the corresponding probabilities of yi, now this will become yi. So here also your range is 0, 1, and 2, but we are looking out only for the number of tails. So 0 tail is also 1 by 4. 1 tail, so again this will be 2 by 4, and 2 tails is also 1 by 4. How it is 1 by 4? Out of total number of sample spaces only you are writing the probability, right? So this is two tail which is coming one time out of 4. That is why we are representing the probabilities. So this is how we generally represent the random variable and their probabilities in the tabular form. Okay. So now I think you have understood this. You can take any other example. You can take rolling of a dice or something, but I want to make it as simple as possible. So let us go for the next part. So when you talk about the random variable, so there are now two types. One is discrete random variable, and one is continuous random variable. There are two types: discrete random variables and continuous random variables. So what do you mean by discrete random variable? It will take the discrete values. will take the discrete values, concrete values. Okay, for example, if you want to write a random variable for discrete between interval let's say 0 to 4, okay, so you have to write, let's say 1, 2, and 3. No decimal numbers are allowed, only discrete values are allowed. But whereas if you want to write a continuous random variable between 0 to 4, that can be any number. It can be 0.5 as well. That can be 1.2. There are so many points you may come. 1.25. It may be 2.25. Anything. There are infinitely many points up to 4. So this is a discrete. So discrete will have a finite countable. You can count them. Countable points. Okay, whereas continuous will have infinite countable points. Okay, so it will take values between the interval, but in this case discrete, it will take a very discrete values. It will, if I want to say a number greater than 0, it will directly jump to 2. It will not take decimal values at all. Okay, so whereas when you talk about the continuous, it will take the decimal values also. So this is one thing. So right. So quickly just look at the example which I've quoted here. A random variable is discrete if it has a finite or countable number of possible outcomes that can be listed. Okay. So one example I can put. What I can say, tossing of a coin. Very simple example because you have a finite outcome. Tossing of coin we have just now seen is a very good example of discrete. Okay, rolling of a dice. You will not get anywhere a decimal numbers. You will get either 0, 1, or 2 as a random variable. In this case also, you may get from 1 to up to 6. There is no decimal number. So this is a very good example of discrete category. All right. Whereas if you talk about continuous, a random variable is continuous if it has an uncountable number of possible outcomes, as I just now told you. All the decimal places also it will consider. Okay. So see here, in the number line, all the values it will take, including a decimal. Whereas it will take only the discrete values like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, something like that. It will not take any value between 0 and 2. No decimal numbers are allowed in discrete. Whereas in this, all the number including decimals are allowed. So a very good example for continuous category, any good example. If you measure the height of a person, so whenever you measure the height of a person, you will not get exactly 165 centimeter. You may get 165.7 centimeter also. So it's a continuous category. This experiment is continuous category. Or speedometer, observing the speedometer. Observing the speedometer. Speedometer. So when you observe the speedometer, the speed will be not exactly that 45 kilometers per hour. You may go 45.5 kilometers per hour as well. So this is also a continuous category. So now you have understood the difference between discrete and continuous. All right. Any doubt in this? All right. So we can go to the next part. Okay. So this is the definition now. A random variable takes a numerical value that describes the outcome. I have already explained you this. The possible distribution of the random variable gives its possible value of the probabilities. So as I've told you, whatever the random variable you define, the corresponding p of x, the probability also we will write it. So we will represent this in a tabular form, standard tabular form. And what this tabular form mean, I will tell you in the upcoming slide. Okay. So, example, consider the tossing of, I have taken now 3 coins tossing at a time. And now I'm defining x as a number of head. So this is now your random variable. This is the random variable which represents the number of head of tail. In the experiment, you can decide the random variable, or in the problem itself, they will mention that random variable x is associated with the number of head, or random variable y is associated with number of tails. They will mention this part. Okay. So when you do this, so this is the random variables it will take. Okay. 0. They are talking about number of head, so there is no head at all. So in this case, you have one. These are the outcomes where it has one head. These are the outcomes where it has two head. And this is the outcome where it has three head. So what is the range of x now? Range of x is become 0, 1, 2, and 3. And what is the corresponding probability of x? 0 head. So 0 head is 1 out of, what is the total number of, what is sample space here? 8, no? So only 1 is there, so this will be 1 by 8. 1 head. So there are 3 outcomes, so this will be 3 by 8. Probability. 2 head, again you have 3 outcomes, so this will be again 3 by 8. And the 3 head, again this is only 1 outcome, so this will be 1 by 8. Alright. So this is the corresponding P of x and x. One more thing you observe that your each P of x value, I can put it this way, each P of xi means x1, x2, x3, x4 is greater than or equal to 0, it has to satisfy, and the summation of all P of xi, when you add all these values, should be equal to 1. Is these two conditions are satisfying? Yes, first condition is satisfying. Second condition, when you add all this, 3 plus 3, 6, 7 or 8, 8 by 8, 1. So yes, this condition is also satisfying. If this condition is satisfying, this particular probability which we have defined is correct. So these two conditions has to satisfy. So these two conditions, what it called, we'll talk about it this in an upcoming slide. We'll go one by one. Okay. So this is the probability as I showed you. So this is a graph of the probability. Okay, the value and the probability. When you have a histogram I have plotted here, so you can see it look like very much a standard bell curve shape. Okay, so if you take the, because it's a discrete, that is why you have the huge amount. But if you take the continuous, you take the small gap, then when you plot it in continuous category, that will be very much similar to your bell curve shape. It will come like this because you have taken the very small portions also into consideration. Because it's a discrete, so it look like a bell curve shape, but it is not actually bell curve shape. Okay, so when you plot and see like this, it look like good probability, like equally divided, but it is not that good compared to continuous category. Anyway, so decide if the random variable x is discrete or continuous. Tell me the first one, the distance your car travel. Is this is a discrete category or a continuous category? The random variable x is a discrete or continuous. The first example is distance your car travels. Kritika said continuous, Abhinav continuous. Okay, so this is continuous category. What about second one? The number of student in statistics class. What about B? Yes, this comes under discrete, because you cannot have decimal numbers of students. Okay, you may have either 100 student, 60 student, whatever. It will be a fixed value. You cannot say that we have 100.5 students. No, not possible. So this comes under discrete category. So now you have got the idea of continuous and discrete. So let's go to the next part. Okay. So yes, this is the portion which you have to learn a bit. Discrete continuous probability and its definition. So this portion I have already explained you that whenever you define a probability, your each p of xi should be greater than or equal to 0 and the summation should be equal to 1. All right? For each random variable xi. Fine. So when you define a random variable xi and corresponding p of xi, whatever the values you define, this condition has to satisfy. If this condition is satisfying, then this particular table which you have created is called a probability function. Then it is called a probability function. This is what it means. Second point, if probability x takes the value xi is pi, it's not pi, it is pi. For x1 that will be p1. Okay, it is something like that. When x is equal to xi, the value is p1. So if this is your x1, x2, the corresponding probability will be p1 and p2. Like this I have defined. Okay, or we just simply call it as p of x1. Anything. This is for x equal to x1. Or if you take x equal to x2 as a random variable, either you write p2 or you write p of x2. So all this put together, in general I have written p of xi here. This is what it means. Okay. So third point, the set of xi and pxi is called a discrete, not probability. This is wrong here. I think I've done a mistake. So I just cut this out. This is not probability discrete. It is just a discrete mass function. Okay, discrete mass function of a random variable x. So what is the difference between PMF and CDF? We will look into it now. So CDF they are given with some mathematical expression. Okay, so don't scratch your head. What is this mathematical expression and how to calculate the CDF? I will tell you in the example what is the difference between PMF and CDF. Okay. So I will just quickly okay. I'm not taking this example right now. I will first defining the difference between CDF and PDF because this is what you have to understand because it's a very important concept in data science. Okay, discrete category may not play important role, but in continuous category, yes, CDF and PDF, PMF calls a important role. So first of all, let me define. So you have a discrete category, you have a continuous category. In discrete category, we will call this as probability mass function. Okay. And continuous category, we have a name called probability density function. This is called probability mass function. Okay, and continuous category, the same type, we call it as probability density function. These are the two different names. All right, and in both the categories, we have a word called CDF, which is nothing but cumulative, which is nothing but a cumulative density function. In the both the categories, we have this CDF. So at present I'm only telling you what is the difference between PMF and CDF for discrete category, because I am not starting with continuous category right now. So I will now tell you what is the difference between PMF and CDF of discrete category. Okay, so let us look into that with one example. So we'll just change the color. Okay. So again, to explain this concept, I will just simply take the example of tossing of a coin because that is a more appropriate and simple way I can explain tossing a coin 2 times. I will not take 3 times also. Let us take only 2 times. I will plot this and I will show you how it differs. All right. So one thing we have seen that uh, where x represent the number of head. Okay. So random variable x is I'm taking number of head. So we have already have this table with us. We have seen initially. So x ranges between 0, 1 and 2. Probabilities are 1 by 4. This will be 2 by 4 and this will be also 1 by 4. So again you can see each probabilities are greater than 0 and sum of all p of x are exactly 1. Okay. So when you plot this probability, so this is called probability mass function. Okay. This is called a probability mass function. This table is called a probability mass function. For each random variable, the corresponding probability is this whole table put together is called as probability mass function. But you can plot this as well. So if you plot this, so I will just put the numbers here. Let's say I will start with 0. Just change the color. This is the point 0. This is the point 1. And this is the point 2, let's say. So this is 0, 1, and 2. So this x-axis will represent the probabilities. So I will just write p of x here. And this is the x. So now you can see here that when x is equal to 0, the probability is 1 by 4, 1 quarter. So 1 by 4, let's say somewhere here. So the line will go up to here like this. Okay. So this is 1 by 4. And the probability is 1, it is 2 by 4. So 1 by 4 means 2 by 4 somewhere come here. So this will be the line. So this, sorry. So this will be the exactly line which is take. So this will be 1 by 4. So this will be 2 by 4. And then again add 2. Again this is 1 by 4. So like this it will plot it. So this is a plot of probability mass function. Okay. Now I'm going back to the CDF. So what is CDF represent us now? So pay attention clearly. So now if I wait, I will just change the color of the pen. Yeah. So again I will draw the horizontal and vertical line like this. Okay. And in this case, the y-axis will represent as function of x because I'm talking about cumulative density function. I'm not talking about p of x anymore. So again the values. Now one thing you observe that before 0, okay, if I start from minus infinity and if I come to 0, if I come to 0, okay, so there is no probability at all. So it will just align at 0. There is no probability at all. Okay. So then at 0, then at 1, and then at 2. Okay. So at 0 there is no probability. So but at 1 second. All right. We'll just take this line like this. Okay. So the line will come like this, and there will be a bit small hole here because at 0 again you have a one probability starting. Okay. So now when you come back to 0, your probability of x is 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 means let's say this point is 1 by 4. So then it will start from here and go up to 1, and again there will be a small hole over here. All right. So now once again, when you have a probability 1, when you reach to 1, what is the probability here? Is it 2 by 4? I am talking about cumulative density function. The main property of that is the probabilities will accumulate. Probabilities will accumulate. So when I will write the probability at 1, I will not write only 2 by 4. It will be 2 by 4 plus 1 by 4. So the probability at 1 will become 3 by 4. So let's say 3 by 4 will be somewhere here. So it will jump to 3 by 4 and then it will go up to 2 and there will be a small hole over here. Okay. So now when you talk about 2, so again the probability will accumulate. So this will become 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4. So next probability will become exactly 1. So if this is 1, so this will go jump up to 1. There's a, and then it will keep on continuing forward. So this represents the CDF. This is X and this is f of X. So what does this means now? What is this CDF means all about? Your probabilities are keep on accumulating in CDF. So this y-axis, okay, generally gives you the percentage of probabilities accumulated. Okay, so if you just change the axis, let's say 1%, sorry, let's say 10%, 1% to 100%. Probability 1 means 100% data has been accumulated. So if you take the value at, let's say at 1, so and when you try to find it out, so how many percentage of probability has been accumulated, that you can identify from the CDF. That is a major importance of this CDF. So mathematically, how will represent this now? In discrete category, generally we won't do this cumulative things at all. But because I'm starting with discrete, so I have let me explain you with discrete only. Because in continuous, it is more important for data science people. Okay, so mathematically now, what is this f of x function will take the value? Let us check. So because it is f of x here, so f of x will now take the values in this range. What is the range? I have started from here. So the value is 0 when minus infinity was less than x and less than 0. Okay. Now the probability is 1 by 4. Probability was 1 by 4 at 0. The value is between what? 0 and 1. So this will be 0 less than equal to x less than 1. Right. Next, from 1 to 2, the probability was 3 by 4. So that will be 1 less than x less than 2. And when 2 onwards, the probability was exactly 1 when x is greater than or equal to 2. So this is the CDF defined. I once again repeat. When we are coming from the left hand side minus infinity to 0, the probability was not defined, so it was 0. Now between 0 to 1, the jump is 1 by 4. Okay, so I've written 1 by 4. Next, between 1 to 2. Okay, so then again from here to here, the jump is of 3 by 4. So it is 3 by 4 between 1 and 2. And when at x greater than or equal to 2 onwards, it has jumped to exactly 1. So which I've taken as 1 here. So you can see that all the probabilities will keep on accumulating. Okay. So 1 by 4. The next was 2 by 4 plus 1 by 4. So that will be 3 by 4. Next 3 by 4 plus next 1 by 4 becomes 4 by 4, which is nothing but 1. So probabilities will keep on accumulating. And when you plot, because it's a discrete, so it is a piecewise continuous function. We will get a different graph when we talk about continuous category, because it's a discrete, no, fixed value. So that is why it is very tedious part we are getting the values. So this is how the CDF of discrete continuous probability means about. So this is PMF, the probability mass function, and this is CDF. Okay. So this is how we represent the CDF with function f of x. Any doubt in this part? Any doubt in this particular portion? Okay. I hope I am very much clear. Please pay attention to all these points, because these are the things which majority people will not tell in the course, because I'm dealing with computer science and data science, data analytics, business analytics. They use this concept, probability, mass functions, CDF. So in continuous category also we will see all these points once again. Okay, so let's come back to this small example which I have taken here. If toss a coin twice, let x be the number of observed head, find the CDF of x. Same example I have taken and have explained you. Okay, so you can see that we will get piecewise continuous function in this case. So don't bother about, I'm sorry, guys, don't bother about this particular part. Okay, don't mathematically I have explained this, but you might be get confused that why x less than x equal to 0 and all. See, by the looking at this picture itself, I can able to say. Okay, if you just see if x less than equal to 0, the value was 0. So this is the mathematical expression of definition of representing CDF in discrete category. So value is important for me. So 1 by 4. So between 0 to 1, you will get 1 by 4, because it's a jump at 1 by 4 here. So that is why I've taken 1 by 4. But between 1 and 2, value will be 3 by 4. It has jumped to 3 by 4 as I've told you. So don't be a bit confused that because I have written 1 to 2, why 0 will come into picture. 0 will definitely come into picture, because 0, this portion you have to add, this portion also you have to add, this portion also you have to add, then only it will jump. So both the portions you have to add. It just keep on accumulating. So this plus this you have to add. And when we talk about 2, then you have to add even 1 by 4 as well. So when you complete all the 3, you have completed 100%. You have accumulated all 100% probability. Probabilities will keep on accumulating, starting from 0 always, then the first value, then first plus second, you have to keep on add them, and then number, and then addition of the all. So 100% data has been, 100% of probability is accumulated. Because this graph is not giving me that much good representation, because it's a discrete category. In continuous, you will get a very good graph like this. In continuous category, you will get a graph like this, because it will take all the decimal values. We'll discuss this in detail. So, call this. This is the simple example I just quoted. Same thing I have just written mathematically. So this is P of x and P of x2, and so on. So no more explanation required here. Now, this is important. Please write down this formula somewhere, because these are the formulas you are using for your solving the problem. The mean of the discrete variable is represented with mu is equal to So this is the mean formula. Mu is equal to summation of x into p of x. So as you have x value and you will be having p of x values, whatever may be, let's say 0, 1, 2, same example I will take, 1 by 4, 2 by 4 and 1 by 4. So summation of x into px means what? 0 into 1 by 4. 0 into 1 by 4 plus, it's a summation, 1 into 2 by 4 plus 2 into 1 by 4. When you calculate this, you will get the mean. Okay, so we will also need to find the mean of the discrete variable. So by this formula, we will find the mean. Okay, by this formula, we will find variance. We have another formula, either you can use this formula or we have another formula, which is x into p of x square into p of x minus of mu whole square. This is the extension version. Both will give you the variance. Either use this or you use this part. So how to use this in problems, we will see. So x square will be having this all x values. So x square means 0 square into 1 by 4 plus 1 square into 2 by 4 plus 2 square by 1 by 4 in the bracket, and then minus of mu square, whatever you will get. Whatever the mu you will get, just subtract this here. And what is the standard deviation? So standard deviation is nothing but the square root of variance. Simple. So if they tell you to find the standard deviation, you have to also find the variance also. Okay, so now you can see that expectation I have included here only. So the expected value of a discrete random variable, expected value means we always represent this as e of x. Expected value of a random variable x, okay, of discrete random variable is nothing but same as the mean. So you can see that the mean itself is called as expected value of x. So don't be get confused. Sometimes they will ask in the problem, find the expectation. Find the expectation of the probability mass function. So they are basically speaking about this particular portion. The expected value is nothing but the mean itself. All right. So these formulas you have to please note it down separately. Mean, variance, standard deviation is okay, no problem, and expectation of x. These three formulas are very important. Please make a note of this somewhere. Just give me a minute. Hello. One second, sir. 1 second. 1 minute. 1 minute. Sorry about that. So this is the only part which you have to remember. So just quickly we'll see this example and then we'll wind up. Okay. So tossing of a dice, I will just leave this part to you. Okay. So you know how to do this particular part. I will just quickly take the problem of this particular question. So just read the problem carefully. From a seed box containing dozen of apples, so there are 12 apples. It was found that 3 apples are perished. Okay, they're not good. So obtain the probability distribution of number of perished apples when 2 apples are drawn at random. So we have to draw the table, probability distribution we have to draw. So how we'll do that? So to answer this question, let x be the random variable of perished apple. You have to first define the random variable. So it is a perished apple. So how many apples has been drawn? 2 are drawn. 2 apples are drawn at random. 2 apples are drawn. Okay. So what is the possibility of random variable x will take the value? There are 3 perished apple. So either there will be 0 perished apple, 1 perished apple, or 2 perished apple. So all 3 ranges I have taken. Probability of each. So probability of x equal to 0 will be what? This is means no perished apple. So what is the probability of no perished apple? Out of 12, 3 are perished, so 9 are good. Okay, so no perished apple means all the 2 apples they have now taken from the good apple only. So this will be 3C0 because no perished apple into 9C2 because you're drawing 2 apples okay, divided by total number of outcome will be 12C2. Simple. Just calculate this. I don't know the answer. I need to calculate. 3C01, 9C2. I think this will be somewhere around 6/11. Please check the answer parallelly. Then what is the probability of x equals to 1? So probability of 1 perished apple. We are drawing 2, but we are finding the probability of 1 perished apple. It means 1 perished apple you have chosen and you have no other option. 1 you have to again choose from good apple. So this will be 3C1 into 9C1. 1 from good, 1 from perished, or divided by total number. So just quickly calculate this. What is the answer? And then we have, all right, sorry, yeah. And then we have x is equal to 2 perished apple. 2 perished apple. So now 2 perished apple means 3C2. 2 we have selected, so you have no need to select anything from good apple. And total is 12C2. Can you quickly tell me the answer of this? 6/11. I need to calculate. It's a calculator. Can you tell me the answer of this? X equal to 1 and 2. I will only calculate. 3C1 into 9C1 divided by 12C1. Okay. This is coming around 9/22. So this is coming around 9/22. What about this? 3C2 plus 9C0 divided by 12C2. But this is 1/22. Okay, please check this. This is the answer I am getting. Is it correct? Okay, so now the probability distribution you have to find x, which is 0, 1, 2, the corresponding p of x. This table you have to calculate. So when x is 0, it is probability 6/11, this is 9/22, and 1/22. So this is the probability distribution function they are talking about. This is the value. Now we have x is equal to 0, P of xi, which is xi or xi. So now we can find the mean. Mean and variance I'm leaving to you to find because it's a simple formula. You can use the formula of summation of x into P of x, 0 into 6 by 11 and something. And variance you can use summation of x square into P of x minus mu square. I'll just take this out. Okay, so these two you calculate. This is called probability distribution. We have distributed the probabilities. This table is called as probability distribution. So can you quickly calculate mean and variance and let me know the answer so that I can finish this here itself. Okay, mean is 1 by 2, fine. So mean is half. What about variance? Okay, so mean value is 1 by 2 and the variance is summation of x square into P of x into a minus of u square. So what is the variance value? Quickly you can calculate. One 165 by 484. Okay. Okay, 165 by 484. You can tell me in decimals also. So in decimal it is how much? 165 by 144. Oh, sorry, 165 by 484. 0.340 something. Okay. So this is coming around 0.3409. Alright. So this is 0.5. This is 0.3049. Okay, that's it. So the previous example, the simple example, again you have tossing, rolling of a dice, which this you can do. So here sum of two numbers, they have taken as random variable. So whatever the x you have to talk about, you have to take this as sum of two numbers. So whenever you take the sum of two numbers, so if you start from 1 comma 1, sum is 2, okay, and outcome, the total number of outcome is only 1. So next sum will be, let's say 3. So 3 will be 1 comma 2, 2 comma 1, okay, and the total number of outcome is 2. So next sum will be 4. So 4 will be possible only 2 comma 2, right? Then 1 comma 3 and 3 comma 1. So the total number of outcome is 3 and so on. Like that up to sum 12 we have to define all the outcomes. So the probability of this outcome will be how much? 1 by 36. This is total is 1 no out of 36. So this will be probability of 1 by 36. This will be probability of 2 by 36. This will be probability because it is 3 outcome 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 by 36 and so on. Like that to define all the probabilities. So this will be your P of x and this is your x value. Sum 2, 3, 4 and up to 12. So like that you define the table x, P of x, So this will be, sum will be 2, 3, 4, up to 12 it will go. So probability will be corresponding 1 by 36. This will be 2 by 36, 3 by 36, and so on. You write all the probability and find the mean and standard deviation. Simple. So this is a simple problem. So I have not done this. Just try this out. Okay. So that's it for today. Next class we will discuss about